Hi, my name's Sophie.
Hi, I'm John.
I'm Nia.
And I'm Brandon.
And our classic poem is entitled I Remember Watts.
By Richard Doe.
Father Amde Hamilton.
And Otis O'Solomon.
AKA Watts Prophets.
To light up New Orleans,
Atlanta.
Chicago.
Philadelphia.
Detroit.
New York,
And most major cities of the world.
It takes trillions
And
billions
and millions and millions
of watts.
to light up Los Angeles.
It only took
One. I remember Watts with her eyes saddened with hunger and her empty pots, a place where winos and have-nots took their treasured possessions to pawn shops on 103rd and other spots.
and I can remember her old man sitting around on boxes in front of pool halls and alleys and vacant lots, drinking wine, playing checkers, and telling each other how this young generation was going to pot.
Crack.
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I remember Watts.
And I can remember her icy lips kissing cold winter nights as her ghetto come to life with all its strife. In gambling houses and night spots with strong-armed robberies.
And Uzi fights.
All a part of ghetto life.
And I can remember warm days of running around with no shoes or socks.
And lots of cops.
Stopping us on our way to and from school, searching our little baby sisters.
Breaking all of morality's rules.
Or maybe just slamming our brothers against the wall, across police cars, cracking our heads open whenever they choose.
Treating us like we were fools.
That's what lit Watts' fuse.
I remember Watts.
And I can remember his huge bad body quaking from the shocks of a slow rumbling freight, snatching me from my dreams, this blood-curdling scream.
Rattling windows, waking babies, driving the sick into shock.
Block after
Block after block after
Block.
Yeah.
I remember Watts.
And I can remember how plain and unmade she looked in spots with the chuck holes in the streets and broken sidewalks.
And high ditching lines and all us blacks living in Jordan Downs,
Nickerson Gardens,
The AGs.
Imperial Court,
Grape Streets.
and all those raggedy shacks.
Yeah, I remember Watts.
and I can remember when she would just turn away, pretending not to see all this senseless violence, and I remember how glad I was when I moved away. But you know what?
I came back because I found out that it really doesn't matter where you go.
New Orleans, Chicago, as long as you Poe, it's still the ghetto.
You can be poor and white, it's still the ghetto.
You can be poor and brown, it's still the barrio.
You could be poor and black, it's still the ghetto.
Detroit,
Dallas,
Soweto,
Rio de Janeiro,
Mexico City,
Cleveland,
Toronto,
New York.
they all the same.
They all the same.
They all the same. The only difference
is in the name.
Our response poem is called The People's Voice.
Before Black Lives Matter,
Trayvon.
And Mike Brown.
4 white cops beat a black man
Right here.
in our town.
The Los Angeles riots of '92.
A throwback to Watts, reopened old wounds.
one videotape set the city ablaze.
Los Angeles
For
burned.
5 torturous days.
This is what happens to a dream deferred
When a people's voice is left unheard.
When LA nights a man woke to lights flashing.
And filmed a man cornered by officers bashing.
Baton, bludgeoned bone.
and it wasn't discreet.
On the corner of Foothill and Osborne Street.
Video proof of brutality
Once a rare thing.
got 4 cops arrested for beating Rodney King.
Soon, angry dark blotches.
Of blisters and bruises.
Or witness to
Of
proof.
systemic abuses. What happens to a dream deferred?
When la voz de la gente is left unheard.
The tension was brewing, but just at a flicker.
Fuel was put in the fire at Empire
A
Liquor.
black teen was shot in the head by the clerk.
The Korean was captured on tape like clockwork.
Arrested for murder, the case went to trial.
16 years slated.
For killing a juvenile.
I know a criminal when I see one.
Said the judge who was white.
So the clerk got probation and walked out that night.
What happens to a dream deferred? When more than their moxori is left unheard.
A year later,
The system's so scared of defeat.
Moved Rodney King's trial so they couldn't be beat.
Away from LA with a mostly white jury.
the trial was held despite everyone's fury.
Officers Kuhn
Powell.
Braseno.
And wind.
just had to say King was
Undisciplined.
The TVs were alive and the heat had grown wilting.
The verdict?
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty!
What happens to a dream deferred?
When a people's voice is left unheard!
Does a dream deferred sag like a heavy load?
Or does it?
Explode. The corner of Florence in Normandy boils.
Crowds disbelieving in justice so spoiled.
Helplessly searching for something to target.
Frustrated fists turn to neighborhood markets.
Molotov cocktails and rocks pummel glass.
No safe place exists for the blue-collar class.
Abandoned by cops as their livelihood smolders.
Korean merchants strap on guns and make themselves soldiers.
A shopkeep sends frenzied in front of her store, yelling,
This is America!
but she's bleeding.
No more!
Cops sit by their cars, Angelinos lay dead.
And the chief heads to a posh fundraiser instead.
White eyes on the news see the violence with fear.
Black ears hear the sirens and hold loved ones near.
Latino hearts get caught up in the heat of the riots.
Korean hands hold on to weapons to fight it.
The system constricts and rips us from each other.
Self-righteously each screams,
Yes,
"It's
it's
war,
war,
motherfucker!"
A quarter century later, still justice for none.
Filmed murders by cops
On repeat like reruns.
There's no riot or looting today in our
But
town.
the smell of the ashes still lingers around.
The fire's not extinguished.
It's burning down low.
And the fuses are stacked up
And ready to go!
And we know what happens to a dream deferred.
When la voz de la gente
모든 들 목소리
the people's voice
is
is
left unheard.